So I'm going to start and we're on the letter mem this week. So alef-bet, gimel, daleth, hey, zayin, het, tet, yud, kaf, lamed, mem. We're halfway through the Hebrew alphabet and also halfway through what would be the English alphabet. Mem is a sort of middle letter for the English. M is halfway through the English alphabet. So this L, M, and N sound are correspond quite well. So we're halfway through. We're in the middle letters now. And this week we're doing mem, which is the 13th letter of the Hebrew alphabet. There's 22 letters in all. It's got a numerical value, though, of 40. As you know, after 10, it goes in tens. So it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then the letters after that go up in tens to 100. And then they go up in hundreds till 400. It's the end of them. So mem is the 13th letter of the Hebrew alphabet. It's got a numerical value, though, of 40. It sounds like the same letter in English. These middle letters L, M, and N sound very much the same in Hebrew. And it's got the meaning of water and also of Messiah. There's am, which is people, nations, tongues sometimes have the M word to them. It's also used in a grammatical form as a suffix. It's a word that can mean from, out of something. At the moment, we're using it a lot in the readings that we're doing in the Parsha because we're coming out of Egypt all the time. And as an from or out of, it's min with a nun at the end. It's in a final form. It's a talk about nun next week. So min means from and out of, and it gets attached to a word usually with a dash to it. Sometimes, though, this final n sound disappears altogether and it becomes me, and it means out of. So we're talking a lot about me at the moment. Mi Mitzrayim. We're coming out of Mitzrayim, which is Egypt, which actually means a narrow place. So mi Mitzrayim, from a narrow place out. So sometimes it's instead of min, it's just me. So from a house, out of a house would be mi bite. Bite, b. We've had that bite letter already, and it also means house, as Hebrew letters also mean words sometimes. Mi bite, mi afel. Where from? You can ask somebody, where from? Me'efo. Minhu, this has the nun in it as well. From here, minhu, from here. So it's a grammatical one, and it's also got this beautiful design to it. It comes in two forms. This is the form of the mem when it's in the word or at the start of the word. But as we saw with a few other letters, there's a final version as well. That when mem comes at the end of the word. So I'll show you in a couple of moments some ones at the end of a word that has this thing. So this version with this tiny opening and this version which is completely closed at the end of a word. The gematria of it, mem, as I said, is 40. But there's also this design gematria to it because it's made from a kaf. This kaf letter we've come upon before. Kaf is the 20. It has a gematria of 20. And vav, which has a gematria of 6. And so mem has 26 to it. This kaf and vav makes 26 if you did it not as the 40th letter, but as like this. And 26 is a relevant, very important number because the one of the words for God, the Yud He Vav He word, the tetragrammaton also has a gematria of 26. And that's a typical thing that happens when people are looking at gematrias. They're looking at either the letter itself, having mem, or the constituent parts of the letter, adding up to 26, and then trying to compare either that 40 or that 26 to something. They're linking things in mystical ways. Mem as itself, this design of it, this open one and this closed one, people play with the design as well, what it actually means about creation. The regular letter, the open one, is everything we see in creation and understand in the simplest way. The letter, when it's closed on all sides, it just has this tiny little opening at the bottom and pointing down towards the earth, towards us, this creation that we're in, this real world. It's got a little line above that goes up to heaven. That's why it's that Vav letter that sort of links heaven and down here on earth. And it's got this tiny little opening to it that allows us to see the physical aspects of creation. Whereas the final Mem Sofit, the final version, is closed on all sides, and it is used, the idea is it's used to symbolize the parts of creation that we cannot understand. There's lots of stuff we can't understand. It comes up, mem comes up in both forms in one of the words for God, makom, which literally means place, but we talk about hamakom, the place, as a name for God. And it's got the open mem at the start and the closed mem at the end. So makom, we read that way. So makom, and this kav letter line in between. And so people talk about the makom, this name of God, linking this openness in creation to this unknown mystery that we can never understand, the not completely understood names of God, the Yud He Vav He, all of that, this whole mystery. As one rabbi says, if I knew God, I would be God. So there's always this mystery that we just don't know. Another name for God, and quite a popular word, is emet, which means truth. It comes up if you ever read about the golem, emet, and then you rub out the aleph and it becomes mut, which means death. So emet is this idea of truth. And what is interesting about the word is it has the very first letter in it, aleph, and the very last letter of the alef-bet, tav, in it. And in between is this mem, this sort of balancing, holistic balance between the first and the last. And truth is obviously contains everything in it. So all of existence is contained in truth. Another word that starts and finishes with mem, and mem itself has that sort of sound about it, is mayim, which means water. And it appears a lot in the Torah. In the story of creation, the text mentions that God separates the waters from above and the waters from below. And so this first mem sort of is like the first, the waters above, or the waters below, sorry, and this final one, the waters above. So there's this idea that these two mems, these two waters, are separated by the letters that are used. So that's just a little bit of ideas of the shape of mem and other meanings of it, of this openness and this closeness. Gematria straightforwardly of mem, the 40, not what it looks like, is another number that comes up loads and loads of times in the Torah. It tends to represent maturity and ripeness. In fact, there's a thing that you shouldn't learn Talmud before you're 40. So there is this whole idea of 40 being this ripe, mature age. There's also because the fetus is considered just a blobby water, a blastocyst, basically, for the first 40 days after conception. And so it doesn't really have the same form till then. The ideal life for a person it's 120 years. We always say, I wish you, 120 years. It's based on the life of Moses, who lived for 120 years. And that splits into 3 40-year segments. And so you've got this early stage, then the stage that you're allowed to learn the Talmud from, and then this later stage when you're very mature and fabulous. It also, 40 appears in loads and loads of biblical stories. The rains, and Mayim is water. So the rains of the Great Flood lasted for 40 days. Moses goes up Mount Sinai for 40 days. Jonah the prophet, who's told to go to Nineveh and get them to repent, says they have 40 days to repent. The children of Israel wander in the desert. They've just come out of Mitzrayim, this narrow place, into this big liminal space, this desert. And they're there for 40 years. It's thought of as the amount of time you need to free yourself of that slave mentality and become an independent, free nation. And as I said, the letter Mem is connected to water and the connection between the revealed and hidden worlds. So this 40 seems to be a moment between that childish reliance and this adult revelation moment. So lots of nice things about it. Mem, the sound, is all letters are allocated parts of the speaking apparatus, and this is in the lips because it vibrates like that, like as if you're playing some sort of musical instrument. It's also got that palindrome about it, to it, that hum sound to it. It's a very earthy sound, and water and earth are sort of the same element in a lot of the Hebrew texts. So it's associated with a very grounding sort of idea. Aleph has got that air breathiness to it. Has this watery, really mother nature down on the earth sound to it. Shin, that will come across the other mother letter, has a sound of fire, shin to it. So the sounds also mean something. And in the Sefer Yetzirah, they're called 3 mother letters. Space, air is that aleph, and mem is that water, and shin is a fiery sound. Also associated with different seasons and different parts of the body, and mem is very much associated with the belly. It's a mothery letter of the belly. So it's one of the 3 mother letters as opposed to those 7 double letters with or without the dagesh and the 12 single letters. And finally, it also comes up in that tale of creation that the 22 letters and the 10 sephirot that we talk about in the Kabbalah are assigned different sentences in the first 32 sentences in creation. And so the second mother letter, Aleph Mem Shin, being the 3 mother letters, is given the sentence, God made the 2 luminaries. It's the 16th of these 32 sentences. I'll show you in a second. As the water being parted from the waters above and the waters below, Mem tends to represent the water below, but it's also associated with this one of these sentences of the 2 luminaries, and I'll show you. It's not the, sorry, nope, to go back one. For some reason it doesn't want to show. Here we go. I made a chart of all the sentences that come up in these first 32 sentences of creation, and 16th is mem. So it goes the sephirah and elementals and more sephirah and double letters and then elementals. It's not just in one straightforward, easy order. But mem is here, number 16, mother letter. We had lamed last time, which actually comes down here. It's the 20th one because it's got different things to it, different ideas about it. So mem is up here, the 16th, but the 22 letters and the 10 sephirot are each given a different sentence in creation. And that's a very Sefer Yetzirah way and a Kabbalistic way that they link the two together somehow. So I'm going to end with a meditation on mem. And so you might want to have a moment to just make yourself comfortable and sit in your space. And I thought about this mem, this open and closedness to it. And I wanted you to think a moment about what you reveal about yourself. Is that the real you? What you conceal about yourself, is that the real you? So let's have a moment to think. Just take a couple of nice deep breaths in and release out back into the universe. And in and out. And feel yourself a little bit into your body. And think about what you reveal about yourself. What can we see about you? What do you let us share in? Characteristics that you let us share in. Things about you you let us share in. And then what you conceal about yourself. And both of them are real. What you reveal and what you conceal. And for some of us, unfortunately, I guess we even conceal things from ourselves, about ourselves. We don't always even know ourselves that well. So there's that revealed part of us and concealed part of us. So you can never really know somebody, I suppose. Everybody has some bits they conceal. And sometimes it's very hard to know ourselves. They always say know yourself, but it's not always easy to know what you're feeling at any one time. Are you really feeling that? Or are you feeling obliged to feel that? You've been told to feel that. That's the normal way people are meant to react. How did you learn what you felt? Did you open up that mem to the world, or did you close it into something nobody gets to see? And that's okay too. You're allowed to choose what you reveal and what you conceal. Sometimes people prod you to tell things about yourself you don't want to tell. You don't have to. It's people without boundaries. So it's interesting to think what you keep to yourself. And maybe explore things about yourself you don't even know.